Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And today we have the amazing Renee and Anthony really bringing forth information from the Ascended Masters, their capacity to tune in, translate, but also carry forward the wisdom in their own embodiment as to what we're all transcending in multiple ways and have so much facilitation and to guide us during these moments of just great expansion in so many ways that we're experiencing it. So today we're going to be talking about the rise of the divine feminine. We're going to get into Q&A, and there's going to be amazing awarenesses that are brought forth based on what Renee and Anthony have been channeling in their connection to the seraphim energies, to Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, the Ascended Masters. And it's with that, Anthony, Renee, welcome back to BTO.
Thanks, John. It's always good to see you, and we love you. We love your community. So we're just always excited to be back here with y'all.
Yes, very very excited to be here, and we're glad to be able to be on your show again and express some of the wisdom that's coming through us.
Mary
Well,
Magdalene's been particularly loud lately.
well, and that's what I want to get into. What is like the latest reports, if you will? Um, what's been your awarenesses that have really been prevalent for you recently?
Well, I think as you mentioned earlier when we started the rise of the divine feminine, I think that's really been a very big message. And it has been all along for us, but I think more recently it's just been a strong megaphone of the need for women to speak up and to speak their truth, without fear, without hesitation, without uncertainty, without doubt. And that's really coming through loud and clear. I mean, of course, it's about the feminine in all of us, right? It's not just about women, of course, but because we all have feminine side. But I think it's really also, and you can speak to it as well, embracing the feminine. And I think, it's a really beautiful example of Anthony doing full embody, connecting with the Magdalene to demonstrate to men that don't be afraid of the feminine. Here's a guy who's channeling her, and it's okay. You're not going to melt away.
Yeah, for me, as you're speaking about this, for me, it goes even beyond overcoming a timidity that about speaking our hearts, speaking our truth from our emotions. But I really feel it as a calling into a rise of leadership as well. There's something quite profound about that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Calling into leadership.
Yeah.
Yes. Trying to think what
Leading in a different way.
leading in a different way. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Absolutely.
More from not from your brain, but really more from your heart.
Right.
Leading more from your heart. I think
Yeah.
that goes for not just women, but also for men, especially.
And it takes courage to do that because, as Marianne Williamson got shot down for, talking about leading from the heart and talking about love on the political stage. I mean, she was massacred for that. And, it's funny in our interview with her, there was a really funny moment where we were like, let's make love cool again, right? Because I think if we make love cool, then we're not shot down for talking about love in the seat of leadership, on the
Mm.
political stage, in business, in boardrooms. I mean, everywhere. I think we really need to step into that heart place.
I maybe later on the call, if we get into some channeling, I would love to tune in, see who comes through, but really ask for a recalibration into a definition of how either Yeshua or Magdalene would define love as we're experiencing now, because
Very well.
it's
Yes.
such a big word, and it can take multiple definitions, and it can be so elusive in different ways. But I really feel that there's an alchemy to the energy of love that if we bring more of an awareness to it and intention to it, it has an opportunity to catch a wave of something that can inspire because it goes beyond just trying to get something into really assimilating the essence of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, the essence you're talking about, John, it's so little actually.
Mm.
We think of love as this big thing, but someone sent me a photo, of her in bed reading, and it was just this beautiful moment, right? Just thinking of you, and it just touched and warmed my heart. That's love, right? Love is taking a pause out from your busy day and being present and thinking of someone in whatever way, shape, that looks like, and helping in tiny, tiny little ways.
John, when you mention that, what I think about
It's like,
is love of oneself, love of who you are,
yeah,
the love of you
yeah,
as a light being, as a human being, and
yeah,
not being afraid to allow yourself to express yourself in that particular manner that you are as a human being.
your light being. Yeah,
Not just your light being, but you as a human being,
yeah,
to express yourself that way, in a unique way, that you are
yeah.
changing and you're becoming something different.
That's what we were kind of talking about on membership call today. Yeah,
And that's the essence of what they say.
yeah,
Don't be afraid to be you. And we can see humans evolving in many different ways now. That before we had to run and be afraid, but we're not afraid anymore. We don't have to be. We can evolve uniquely as the love beings that we are and can express it any way we want. That's really the message in this three-dimensional realm.
bringing it back here, bringing that light being that you are back here in the human plane, and doing whatever you can.
Even in whatever profession you practice,
Yeah,
that's really what it's about.
I'll be so curious as we ask Yeshua or Magdalene or whoever happens to come through
And
what
I'm
their
gonna
what their experience of love is. It'll be really interesting as it
let
comes
me
through.
let me just get to something really good.
Okay, amazing.
he gets
I
like that
love
with
it.
the kids.
Yeah, because I work with children all day. Now, going back to the idea of being able to express yourself as a human being, not being afraid. But then there are some of us, a percentage of us as human beings, that go into an expanded state of awareness in our own unique way. And then there are some of us that are like myself that channel. Okay, channel. What is it exactly that we channel? Who do we channel? And I'm going to say it as a channeler myself. I'm going to say it to everybody. Who is it? What is it that's coming through the channelers in essence, John?
It's love.
Who is love?
The expression in which I am choosing to express is love.
Yeah, that's great.
Good. You're very politically correct,
Yeah,
John. I
that's
see what you're saying.
no, but it's beautiful because
I like
rather
that.
we're not focusing on
Right.
the details, it's about the message.
It's
Yeah.
always about the message. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter where it comes from, but it's about the message. But I will say this to everybody out there. In the end, in truth, it is the higher self, soul self,
Connected,
authentic self, whatever you want to call it.
connected to the all.
That is who channelers are channeling. They may not agree with it, but they are connecting to the higher self that is expanding into other consciousness, whatever that may be. If we even know what consciousness is, or if we even know what the soul really is, but in truth, you're going to be channeling your higher self. And I would like to see in the future that channelers that we stop channeling these other beings because we may feel that we as human beings, we're not good enough. We're not good enough to say that we're channeling our higher self that really is love divine.
Divine.
That's
Yeah.
really what it is.
Yeah. There's a fear around it.
There
or a
is definitely a
stigma.
fear and a stigma around that.
Yeah.
Blasphemy, I tell you.
Yeah.
So here's a little odd question. Are there some higher selves that are higher vibrational places than other higher selves? Because I can hold the higher self, but does my higher self have a ceiling of which it can reach because of whatever experience I'm having here?
I think, I mean, I think if we don't use the word higher, I think if you get rid of that word, there's a way to answer that. I don't think it's so much about higher, John. I think what it is, you know how Paul Selig talks about the upper room, right?
He talks
So,
about the monad as well, and I like the monad, right?
yeah, the monad, he talks about the upper room. So the upper room is the level, I mean, because our guides are very similar, in that
Mhm.
regard with what comes through our level of consciousness. It meets you where you're at.
Mhm.
And whatever room or level, if you want to call it, the only reason that we as human beings talk about levels is because that's what we can understand. And it's helpful, right? Because it's a way for us to learn. If we don't use higher and lower, how do we understand? How do we learn? How do we learn that we're getting to an expanded state of awareness or that level if we don't use that language? But I don't think it's so much higher or lower because that signifies in some way that one's better than the other. I think
Right.
what it is, Paul's guides and our guides will say the same thing. It's the level of consciousness that you are able to hold in any one moment. So, yes, of course, that if you're not ready to hold that expanded state of consciousness or awareness or whatever you want to call it, it's not good, it's not bad, it's not wrong, it's not less. It's just where you're at that moment.
The vibrational rate, if you will.
Yeah.
It's just the rate at which at
That
which
too
you
is a
can.
very tricky thing because it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that if it's vibrating quicker, that you're going higher or that you're going deeper. That's a very quantum
Yeah.
perception that we have to try to understand also.
Although Lazarus
Uh,
and Yeshua even say in our book that they do speak about vibrating faster. They do actually use that as an example for us to understand faster rather than lower or
I
higher.
think that's why it's explained in that manner.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it
Well,
is. Yeah. Go ahead.
and
Sorry.
if we go to the essence of it again, it's that expression of love and love in that sense. And when you're tuned in that way and feeling it, love gets translated into a sense of connection, of joy, of ecstasy, of openness. And I think those are the barometers in which we can measure the extent of which we're open and are receiving and are being flooded with love as we allow ourselves to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that. We all desire love, but there's a part of us that fears love. It's
Absolutely.
almost too much, right? Can we trust it? Can we
Mm,
trust that love? Will it go away if we embrace it? Will we be hurt? If we give too much, what will happen? All of this kind of uncertainty because we've been hurt before. And so I think it's, back to what you were saying, sweetheart, earlier, where you're talking about self-love and self-care and embracing that self-love of oneself. It does start there.
mm,
If we can't love ourselves truly and unconditionally, then how can we have the capacity to love another?
sure. Have your capacities to be more open to receiving love shifted dramatically since you've opened to more channeling from Yeshua and Mary and the Ascended Masters?
For me, for sure.
John, I'm not your typical channeler at all. So for everyone out there, when you're on a spiritual path, it should always change. we as human beings are evolving, and so there's change. For me, the capacity has become much more focused. I'm
He
much
was talking
more,
about love, though.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
capacity for love.
Capacity for love. But my capacity for love, if before I wasn't open and I channeled everything, everything came through.
As you remember, John, the
Oh, yeah.
early days. Who's coming through today? Metatron, Melchizedek?
So why has my channeling, if we're going to call it the expansion, come like this? Focused, very focused.
Resonance.
It's extremely focused. It's much more conservative.
It's refined, yeah.
It's refined. And I will only allow a certain entity to come through now. That is it. But it's the love, the focusing of that particular love that personally I enjoy the most.
Mm.
And so has my heart become more open? It has, but it's definitely become much more refined the more that I can control the channel now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when Yeshua comes through, I think for us, and gosh, we've channeled everything. And there's love in all these different forms and facets, of course, different frequencies or whatever you want to call them. But the Yeshua energy literally melts us. There's just something like a melting or a melding. And not to say that other essences and energies can't do that, but it seems to, we talk about this a lot in spiritual circles, a remembering. I think it's a remembering for us of what maybe we once aligned to and wasn't able to bring forth in a past time, even though there is no past. I think there's something there of a remembering. So that's one piece of it. And I think the Magdalene energy, which is very different than Yeshua, is also a remembering of a time, not just in ancient Judea when women couldn't speak their truth, but all women from yesteryear who were written out of history and holy books and couldn't speak their truth. A remembering of that. And so I think when their messages come through, for us, it's like ding, 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 ding. Yes. Yes, that's right. And it just feels, what's the word? It just
Aligned.
Yeah, but it's even
Resonant.
bigger. Yeah, but it's even bigger than that. It feels a merging of inner truth that's undeniable. Yeah, that's what it is.
Amazing. So as this rising of the divine feminine is really coming forward, and it's really, again, it's informing us in ways that we're ready to receive, perhaps in ways that we haven't before. How can we connect more with the teachings of the ascended masters that carried this wisdom and embodied wisdom, and that share it through vehicles such as yourselves? How can we connect more with those masters so that we can assimilate more into this divine feminine?
John, you're posing some very good questions, young man.
As always.
You know, the divine feminine and divine masculine is a perception of our own reality. How do we connect to what is more feminine? Well, I do it through when I work with children. I work primarily with all women. I do it with yoga. For me, that's more feminine, but that's my perception. My masculine is when I'm lifting or when I'm doing kung fu. That's more masculine, but that's for me.
Also a perception.
That's just a perception. How do all of you out there connect to something that is more feminine? That's up to you, I suppose.
It's funny because, Magdalene in the book, she'll even talk about in the very chapter called Masculine and Feminine Energy, she will talk about that all of it's just a perception, that there really is no masculine, there is no feminine, and we're going to light body states, if you like, in the future where it's just energy. I mean, it's almost as if we need that stepping stone language to re-own those parts of ourselves now because they've been out of balance for so long. But over time, it's just going to be energy, ebbing and flowing like yin and yang, flowing into each other, like the infinity eight flowing into each other. That's all it is. It's dancing with that energy. And how do we do that in a way that is divinely guiding us in a balanced and healthy way, right? I think that's really what it is.
John, how do you do it? What's your method?
I give myself permission to be who I be in the moment. I mean, really, it's a surrender into
Yeah.
trying not to judge
Yeah.
the different versions of what's coming in, whether it's a nurturing or surrendering and not knowing, or a taking action, even though I'm going to blow things up in the process. Of course not. Uh, but it's really more of having a permission slip and less about trying to be something for someone else and more about following an integrity of a calling from my heart rather than an egoic following
Yeah. And the present moment too,
in the
right?
present moment.
What's
Yeah.
in the present moment? Yeah.
It really is a surrendering. I would say
Yeah,
it's
totally.
definitely surrendering into
Yeah.
who you are as a human being and as a light being. And it's a practice.
And don't you find that you catch yourselves as a masculine sometimes? There could be situations where that masculine primal energy wants to, like someone cuts you off in traffic, or like it's like, not that that comes up, but there's like a masculine energy that would, the ego would say that's supposed to come out. Or if someone looked at Renee wrong, it's like, oh no, I got to protect her. It's like, hold on a second. Why? And the pausing in that and really coming into balance. Um, it's a
Anger, right? Anger and releasing out, that kind of that egoic state is pausing in the moment and saying, why am I doing that? Or why am I
right.
releasing this anger? Let me just take a pause and see what a better, more healthy response might be.
John, in truth, I mean, as I'm Anthony, human being, channeling can be very, very challenging. For me, I find it a challenge. And I don't do it full time because I find it challenging. And I know there are a lot of people out there that channel full time and they love doing it. I suppose for me, there is still a little bit of that masculine holding on to saying, is this really what you want to do, Anthony? Can you truly surrender into it? And I think we all have to ask ourselves that. Do we really want to surrender into it all the time? I'm not sure if I really want to surrender into it all the time. I enjoy being Anthony. And there's always a sense that Anthony's going to get lost somewhere. Although I know he's not going to, but
That's a normal fear that I
it is.
think
There's a
most,
fear there that,
yeah. I mean, and people that we work with too, they often worry about getting lost. And, our guides and Yeshua will always say, you're never going to get lost because it's not a whatever, John or the energy you're channeling and all
so
that is. It's John and. It's always an and. So it's an expansion of, it's kind of, to use masculine language, it's like a toolbox, right? And so suddenly you just have a hammer, which is Anthony or John, right? And then suddenly you have all of these tools and you can just access them as you wish at any time you wish. That's really how Yeshua will explain that to us, that you can literally dance between these energies and flow in and out of whatever aspects, frequencies, archetypes, whatever you wish to call them, anytime you wish. It's just a choice of flowing, dancing back and forth.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's how Yeshua explains it. And Magdalene's a different story. She's just show up, do the work, no pity parties. We've got work to do. Help women embrace their power and speak your truth and have no fear. Don't hold back. Just moves.
Which if you to read that on paper would sound like a very masculine trait.
Yeah.
And yet it isn't.
Well,
Why why is that so? Yeah,
it shouldn't be, John. It shouldn't be.
great.
But for all the women who are listening here today, how many times have you been told, shut up? You're speaking too much. You're speaking too loud. Or that's not very feminine. Or that's not very ladylike. Or you mustn't do that. You mustn't say that. All of these things that we've been conditioned that are not feminine and masculine, and Magdalene will say, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. That's been hardwired by patriarchal society for millennia and beyond. And so we need to reshape that story.
How do we shift the stories within ourselves? How do we do the rewiring so that we're not in the judgments of what it's supposed to or not be for the sake of identification and fitting in and being accepted and and to really navigate from an inspiration as is demonstrated through the Magdalene and Yeshua energies.
You want to take that first and then I'll.
What?
Well, I mean, I'm reminding
Okay.
of what I'm actually thinking of an example, John, of something that happened today during our membership call where I was a fire hose this morning. It was just like, we just had a book come out last week and I haven't slept in a week. And so I've been drinking a lot of coffee and a lot of tea and I'm a little hyper lately. When you get tired, it's like a fire hose that comes out.
Which we're gonna do a whole different promotion for the book also because that deserves its own kind of
No, I know. But just
yeah.
so you know why I've been so wired, right? It's like not a lot of sleep. And so, I had this fire hose of just passion about stuff. And I was talking a lot this morning during membership. And I was second guessing myself, right? Um, and so I was texting a few of the women in our membership group who over the years have become friends. They've become more than just members of our community. They become friends. And I'm like, was I too much today? So, it makes me think of these moments where there's a great Joan of Arc quote. And it's, I'm not afraid. I was born to do this, right? And there are moments I know I feel that way very much so in some areas of my life. And I'm sure the women out there and men out there who feel that I'm not afraid. I'm aligned. I'm born to do this. And then there's other times where it's like, God, did I offend someone? Did I speak too much? Was I too loud? And I went through that this morning. I'm like texting, was that okay? And so I think when you're asking that question, how do we get out of that? I think we plug into community. And as women, we don't alienate and we don't go back to the deprivation mode, like I'm going to stand up for myself because there's not enough for me, which is how we've been trained. We're going to say, sister, I got your back. You were fine, even if you weren't fine, whatever, say it in a way that's like embracing to say, it's okay. You're not wrong. You were whatever you were in that moment and to support, that's one little way, I think, in ways that I never experienced in my tech career at all, ever. And I think if women can step up and do those little things for each other, and make it okay. I think just it's so little, right? It's so little, but it's really helping each other get over the hurdle of no, that wasn't wrong. I got your back, sister. I heard you. Or whatever it happens to be from the heart. That kind of support is huge. I don't know if anyone who's a woman here is resonating with that, but just getting those little touch bases to say, oh, it's okay, sister. You can vent sometimes and it's okay. It's really little, but it's very supportive.
I was
Anyway,
going to say, watch the John Burgos show. It's a great community, right? You gotta stay in community. You gotta stay with, what are you doing to my hair?
I'm taking it
Oh, I
down.
hate when you do that.
But she likes it. She's in her feminine.
Yes.
I
I'm in
am.
my masculine right now.
All right.
This with my hair. I like my hair like this. This is the masculine part of me. So
I I really appreciate what you're sharing, and it also takes me to the opposite end of the pendulum of not just the littleness, but to be so bold and audacious, to be so big.
Yeah.
To
that's
just
not easy.
it
Yeah.
isn't. It isn't. That's why community. That's why,
Yeah.
and even just practice, just putting it out there from time to time to start cracking the shell, because
Yeah.
we're so taught to hit up against that resistance, even a little bit of resistance, we coil back.
Yes,
And
that's
that
true.
and that has to shift.
That
Because
has that
we become
definitely that
yeah,
shift that shifted
yeah,
for you as well.
yeah.
You know.
Again, you're channeling and the way, I mean, when Magdalene shows up to you, it's like the way your energy shifts and you're in that. I mean, that's a big surrender. I don't know any other male channels that channel a feminine energy in that way. I don't know of any.
Well, and how about this? How about the opposite for all the men listening is that, we were on a call once. This was a few years ago. It was during COVID. And I'm not sure if we've shared it on this platform or not, but there was a woman with a PhD who just, she kind of threw it out in the chat and she said, what woman like Magdalene would ever go through a man. It's not happening. Like she just never would do that. And Anthony didn't see it. I saw it come through. It wounded me a little bit, right? But that's the opposite. That's true, where he got attacked for something, for embracing the feminine in a way that men haven't been permitted to do in a way that isn't going to get attacked. And so I think it's like happening on both sides, demonstrating that it's okay to embrace the feminine, and for the women to embrace the Magdalene energy.
Yeah.
you
I
know
I also really appreciate the word attacked. Because I think we've been going through stages of where we've been becoming more empathic and again becoming even more sensitive and attuning that and refining those capacities as well. That attack and the refined empathy is not the same as the attack and the empathy that's just kind of being born out of its shell. We're not as sensitive to the criticism or the jabs. Don't feel like we're going to be destroyed because someone doesn't agree.
yeah yeah not everyone's going to agree.
No.
Most definitely not.
And it just, we have to be okay
I
with
would
it.
say I hate to say this, but there is a large majority of people that are not going to agree.
Yeah.
But what's most important is the community that you're with
Yeah.
and those that do see your light and see your message and can relate to it. And that's
Well,
really the most important thing.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned these last 10 years.
Yeah.
well, it's obvious with the two of you that what's being shared as truth is love, and it can come across as in different words. And I don't have to agree to all the words that you're saying, even though I kind of do. But you can feel the essence of the intention of love that's being transmitted and the exchange. And in that, there is an openness to receive different versions of truth that apply.
Yeah. There you go. Different versions of truth that apply to you.
Right.
What resonates with you? And, Magdalene will often say this too. Take what works for you, whether it's from a religion or from an ideology or a belief system or a teaching, bring it into your field and use it how you can and discard the rest. She'll say that over and over again. It's dance with what comes in and feel into it. Trust yourself, just trust yourself. Trust your higher self. Sit with it. See how it feels in your heart. Is it nourishing you? Is it guiding you? Is it making you feel warm and cuddly?
What's going on with Anthony?
Yeah.
I'm slowly
He's kind of going in a little
slipping.
bit.
I can
I,
feel. So
I can feel that.
when I twitch, I'm resisting.
Ah,
So when I twitch, I resist. That's how I hold it back. But I
Hmm.
can feel the energy wanting to come through. So that means it's time.
Is Magdalene getting excited?
Well, I feel it in my heart and my throat, maybe my high heart, because I could feel the energy shifting also. And
Yeah.
it's always fascinating to me when I'm with y'all that I can.
I'm fascinated too by how you're able to feel the energy,
Hmm.
and I wish we could measure it somehow.
I wish we could also. It's profound.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
hmm. Oh, just tuning in the space. And again, what I wanted to share also, Renee, and what you were saying about hearing the different versions of the truth, that there was information coming at me 10, 15 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, that weren't quite landing in me. And so I could absorb what I was rates absorb and translated based on my level of understanding at that point. That today makes so much more sense to me. It's like, oh, of course. Yes, that's true. I get it. And I can articulate it and even carry a different conversation about it, where before I just wasn't quite
yeah.
at that level of comprehension for me for whatever reason, as far as what I was navigating. Um, so I like to stay open a lot of times when I feel the resonance, but don't necessarily understand the translation. It's like, I wonder what's here for me that I'm not just quite ready to receive yet. And
Well,
and
and
be
being
open.
okay and being okay with that. We did, we're doing these darshan experiences that we haven't quite figured out how to do virtually, but we do them physically. And one of the meditations when Yeshua comes through and does a meditation before we get started is allowing your higher self to receive as much energy and the transmission that you can handle at this particular time. Right. And being okay with that.
Right.
That's the thing. It's being okay with that. And I remember doing our first one and I thought, well, oh my gosh, the Kundalini's like moving all over the place for that person. Why isn't it happening for me? And then that comparison makes it feel like you're not evolving as quickly. And it's not about that at all. It really isn't, because we receive energy differently, and like a little activation can be really big.
Mm.
Hello.
It's good to see you again. I'm Miriam.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good as always.
Good to see you come through first for a change.
Well,
It's
we are talking about me, aren't we?
we were talking about
John, it is always good to see you. It is a
Good to be
pleasure
with
to see such a beautiful, lovely, glowing man,
you.
well balanced, well open. It
Hmm.
is beautiful to see you again. And the work that you're doing for humanity, it gives me a great deal of pleasure. But I can tell you, John, you're not the only one. There are others like you doing the same thing. And you asked, how is it that we can balance the masculine and feminine? Well, we go and we see people like John and like Renee and Anthony and others.
and stay in community of the resonance field.
Yes, that's how you balance
Plug in.
divine feminine and
You
masculine.
plug into the love. You just plug into the love and the support.
As you, John, have surrendered
Yeah.
into it fully
Hmm.
and you made it your profession.
Yes.
That is not easy, is
Yeah.
it? That is truly surrendering into something and creating something new.
Hmm.
It is the feminine aspect of all of us, and for all men and for all women. And I say, blessed be to you, John, and to all of those that surrender into your higher selves, your authentic selves.
Mm.
It is good to be here.
I'm glad you came through first.
Ladies first. John, is there a question for me?
I'm sure there will be from the audience as well. But I'd like to start. How do we differ? Not how do we? Um, what is the different tone between your essence as a divine feminine and Yeshua's essence as a divine masculine? Because
Ah,
we
John.
talk about the integration,
Mm.
and
Yes.
And the relationship that we are invited to have with each of you is so profound, and just it's humbling to be in the presence of that essence. Um, but why do we have different representations for each that are in separation?
Because you choose to
Mm.
at this point of your evolution as a species. In truth, I am not feminine, nor am I masculine, but I will present myself as the feminine aspect of Miriam of Magdal, and I will come into Anthony as Miriam of Magdal, who you seen, who I manifested as a feminine human being.
But a strong one.
Damn strong.
A strong one that could be depicted as more masculine, right? Because
you often depicted me as very feminine.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I was much more masculine in that sense, in your perception of what masculinity is. A woman who gets in the ring and boxes and fights, is she not still feminine? A woman that plays rugby, is she still not feminine?
Yeah.
A woman that goes and fights for her country, is she still not feminine? She is, John. I say to you and to all of those, she still is a woman. And that is the woman that you are all becoming. And that is what I want to see for all women.
Yeah.
You can still maintain your femininity and be of love and make love and all of these great things as a woman. But you can break the barriers that once were not open to you. The doors are opening now more and more. Let the woman go into the locker room. Put your clothes on, men. I'm here to interview you. Let the women be announcers for sports. Let the women break the barriers now, and it's happening. Let them fly the jets. Let them hold the guns. Let them be great politicians, but with an open heart.
Yeah.
You see.
That's how we change consciousness.
Yes.
It's how we show up to be a leader, you know.
To be a leader, to be a feminine leader.
But strong.
But strong.
Yeah.
Resolute.
Well, you've said many times that, you know, especially when your book comes out, you were saying a lot of people aren't going to like your voice because it's too strong.
And I say to you, so they didn't like me 2,000 years ago. Maybe if they don't like me now, that's okay too. But I believe, I know that they will, because something is changing on your earth. It is the concept of what a woman is.
Yeah.
This is what you refer to as the ascension or the rising of the feminine energy. It's changing, evolving,
and we can
expanding.
We can still bring in all the natural aspects of what it means to be the feminine, the flow, being the flow. I mean, I love this. It's kind of an antiquated example, but Tony Robbins brought it up years ago, and it's a good example, like the purse, you know, the analogy of the purse, right? A woman goes out and we put everything in the purse. Everything that someone might need. So you're out and someone needs a safety pin, and you know, you pull it out, or an extra pen. And this is that nurturing energy that we're always, you know, when I go out, I'm always thinking of somebody else. It's not just me. And I think, you know, as natural mothers, we do that. We do that because what are the kids going to need? And so I think that natural nurturing energy of thinking about the other is going to be damn useful in business, right? Because we're going to be thinking more about collaboration. We can still be competitive. We can still be thinking about competition. But when we're doing it from a place of collaboration and helping the other, and here's what I have to offer, right? It's not just about what I'm getting in return. It's about what I'm here to give. And I think that's going to be a very, very different kind of leadership.
I agree with you. And I also feel that because of different pinnacle world events that are blanketing our awareness, are really calling us into an awareness that is through collaboration that we are going to thrive together, rather than in the separation of the winning energy. It's me against you. It's it's that energy that if we were to keep perpetuating that, that the foundations of the houses that we built would crumble, and have little chance of being built back up in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
John, you are absolutely right. Each country, we go on a bigger scale, must work together. You cannot continue to be separate and try to take each other's land. It doesn't work that way anymore. You must collaborate together, respect each other.
Live together, take care of the environment together. There's all sorts of like co-housing things that are happening right now where we live together, we cook together, we grow food together.
It's happening.
Yeah, so that when these disasters are happening, because we've been out of balance for so long, and LA, right? Suddenly it's like, where do these people go? And so, right, North Carolina, I mean, all of these examples, and I think there's going to be a lot of extreme things that are going to start to happen 2025. And
Why do you say that?
well, and I don't mean it, I don't want to think that this is like a speculative disasters are coming. That's not what I mean. But I think the extremes that you're seeing politically, economically, in business, everything, right? Bitcoin, I mean, you name it, there's an extreme that's happening. And I think, and I will say this,
I will disagree with you as a woman.
well, what I'm talking about is we're seeing it now.
What do we see?
We're seeing extremes now that are, or perceptions that are extreme. Let me put it that way.
Good. Perceptions.
Perceptions that are extreme. And I think it's up to us to be grounded in our spiritual, what's the word? Our spiritual knowledge and our awakening and our innate knowingness to help others on their path as they're going through this perception of divisiveness.
Good.
And saying that it's okay.
Yes.
And I would even say that it's not just the spiritual component of us, but I would also say it's through the intuition of the feminine that knows how to nurture that period of gestation that is giving birth to something new, and to support it in such a way that it can thrive, rather than not make it through its own natural evolution.
Yeah.
So there's something profound in the feminine energy of knowing how to take care, knowing how to nurture, knowing what it takes to sustain for something that has been given vitality to be able to go through its maturation process and to expand and to thrive.
Yeah, I like what Linda said in the chat, opening eyes to the movie that they use to distract us from opening to more ascension. The movies, the theater, the theater out there.
I will not say that here in 2025 that something extreme will happen, but I will say that you are expanding. If there is anything that is extreme, you as human beings are expanding at an exponential rate. Exponentially. You could say extremely. You could use that word as well if you want. But your consciousness truly is expanding. It is evolving. It is becoming,
as a collective,
collectively more in touch with who you are as souls, as energy beings. And it's happening in an infinite amount of ways. It's not just Miriam of Yeshua. There are many other beings that come through that are helping all of you to open up your consciousness to who you truly are. To love you, to know you, to be you is to know source. When two become one, then you will know who you are.
That's very Kabbalah of you.
I am Jewish, you
know. So how do we know that expansion, that awakening of consciousness is actually occurring?
Okay. Did you say turn the light on?
I think because it's so dark, I can't. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Say that again, John, please.
How do we know that awakening of consciousness is taking place? Because it can feel like it can feel like we touch it from time to time. We're having experiences of it, but then we go into experiences of the old and we're not quite sure. And we tune into environments that perhaps bring doubt that that's actually happening.
Love that.
Ah, yes. Door number one, you can walk through and go to grace and gratitude. Or door number two, you can go through resentment and pain. Which door do you want to take?
Or number
See,
one.
when you know that you know which door through which you can walk, then you know that you are expanding. It's when you are unaware.
Yeah, and just make that choice of gratitude and love and expansion. I mean, even if something as horrific as the fires where people's, you know,
Or even war.
well, because we live in Northern California, we happen to know quite a few people in LA, and you know, most people's homes are okay, but there's been a couple people we know where their homes are gone, completely gone. And then how do we respond in that moment of tragedy?
Can you live a life from your heart? Can you think with your heart? Can you act with your heart?
It's going to be okay.
That's what it is, John. John, Senor Burgos, you do it all the time.
Yeah.
At least
I'm becoming more aware of it.
You are practicing it.
Yeah.
It is a daily practice.
Yeah, John, you were asking, how do we not slip back into the old? And it really is that daily practice because, yeah.
Don't be afraid of slipping backwards a little bit. It's okay. It is human.
Yeah.
But catch yourself. Pinch yourself. Say, oh, that didn't feel good. That didn't sound like me. That wasn't me.
Oh, and by the way, this is a really good example when you're in an environment with someone else who wants to bring you back to the old through complaining or through whatever, you know, language that doesn't serve you, that wants to bring you backwards, catching that, and then also realizing that maybe that person or that community doesn't support you anymore. And those are hard decisions. Those are hard decisions because it's making a decision to plug into another community, perhaps, that's more supportive of you, who's got your back, who's rooting you on, who's saying, we're in this together. I will support you. It's okay. Because, you know, I think that's also part of the daily practice, not going, you always say, don't go down to their vibration. You've said more or less that language, stay at yours. And if they don't come there, don't worry about it.
Yes. Stay where it is that you are playing your instrument.
Yeah.
Sing with your heart. Stay there.
And just shine your light and be that through demonstration.
That is true.
Through demonstration.
I heard something that surprised me the other day. There was an interview of Yogananda, and he was sharing, I never surround myself with anybody who carries negative energy. Anybody who's always in a bad mood or who's moody, I choose not to be around them because that's not very self-loving of me. And it surprised me that he would say that.
Me too. Yeah.
But I understand.
Yeah. That was in an interview that you saw? That's interesting.
It's in the lecture that he gave. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that either. Huh.
Yeah.
Frequent
Yeah.
with those who have the same frequency of you. Frequent with them. Be with them. Be with them. That's how you stay in that resonance field or that vibration, that vibratory state of open-heartedness. Now you know why we come through Anthony every night.
Yes.
Not just maintain the channel.
Thank you.
Well, and what you're speaking of, this really takes me to the beginning of our call. What is love really? And this is
Boy, John, that is very profound. What is love really? I think the Beatles. What do you think?
You're starting to sound more like our guides than
I know I am.
I know.
But I am all of them as well.
Yeah.
What is love really? Wow, John.
Would you care to answer that for us?
I can't. Love is you.
Hmm.
Love is simple. It is not complex. It is a simple smile and a look at somebody and a touch of a face. Please don't be in such a hurry to leave this realm. It are the flowers in the back, the guitar in the back, the blue pillows. That's what it is. It is looking at your face and seeing how beautiful it is. It is touching Renee's hair. It is smelling her perfume and the beautiful jewelry. It is writing through her. It is being Anthony. Don't be in a hurry to leave. This density that you call it truly is miraculous.
If we can be in the present moment with it.
Yes.
And focus on the beauty.
And
Focus on that love.
the
Yes.
taste, like I got COVID, I don't know, 8 weeks ago or something. I think my third time. I didn't always test, but I lost my taste for the first time. And I got to tell you, when it started coming back, I was just like, oh my God, coconut again. And it's still not completely back. But Yeshua came through about a week and a half ago, because I was like, is this forever? And he said, it will come back. And remember, Yeshua said, pay attention and notice the subtleties of what's coming back, because maybe not all of it will come back at once. And so you might just, you might be able to taste the coconut, but maybe you can't taste the chocolate, right? And so it's been quite a miraculous experience for me it's like, oh, wow, I can taste that. I'm so excited. And I'm running through the house like a little kid. And so I think it's those moments of
The subtleties, the little things, the little subtleties and energy that you start to feel as you expand.
Yeah.
That's awareness.
That's love.
That is love.
Yeah.
Love is who you really are, John.
It's the giving and the receive. And by the way, the love is also receiving in a way that, like when Patty sent me that photo of her, and I laughed and was giggly like a 10-year-old child, because, it was childlike. And it was childlike. Yes. And so receiving that in a way that just brought me joy brings her joy, doesn't it? Because if you're just sending something and someone's not present with you.
John, it is this. I get to hang on Renee's hand. I can feel her fingers. I can see her skin. This is love, John. This touch.
And self-love. You should talk about self-love too.
Self-love. Take care of yourselves. What you do here, you do there. As above, so below. Is that not true?
Yeah, well, I think that actually should spend another minute on that. Because remember, we talked about that at the Darshan too.
Yes.
That it's not just about this spiritual intention. It's not just the Joe Dispenza thing where you're visualizing being in the heart coherence field and therefore you are and you shall be healed. It's not just that. If you don't change your diet, if you don't exercise and move the toxins and the through your body, you're not going to get well. So I think it's making that self-love, it's physical care too. I think we need to just emphasize
you can't simply just sit and expect everything to happen to you.
It seems like a silly thing just to say that, right? Like you can have an MD on here, a traditional MD who's not spiritual at all, and say that. But I think for spiritual people, sometimes we're always out there giving, and that we don't take care of ourselves. We put ourselves second and then we get sick, right? Because we haven't nurtured ourselves. So self-care is also love.
And when we tune into self-care, when we attune into, again, the essence of love and start noticing and being receptive to it, really allowing to become a part of an embodied experience, but then also in the generosity of giving it as well. We start getting into a place where we find that there's a balance. And we start feeling better emotionally and energetically about it. And when we start feeling better emotionally and energetically, if our body's out of tune, we start noticing where those discrepancies are, unbalances are, and we start tuning in different ways. We start listening to the body in ways that we weren't paying attention to before as well. And I don't think one comes before the other, but there is the balancing effect that when we're receptive to the fluidity, infinity of love, and we're in an expression of that, that we can't help but to notice any places in our lives that are out of that alchemy that's possible.
Yeah. Well said. I couldn't agree more with what you just said. Yep.
1
So
second, please. There's going to be a shift.
Oh, is Yeshua coming?
Yes,
Aw.
it is good to see you, but I'll
Oh.
come back.
Okay.
and y'all, we're gonna get into a special offer in a little bit, not just yet, because I want to get into, Yeshua's coming in. We're not interrupting that. But there is a special offer with a live workshop. There's amazing membership. There's a lot there's a lot of love that's been poured into an opportunity to go deeper into these energies. So again, we're not going to gloss over that on today's call. I definitely want y'all to benefit from the generosity of that offer. But Yeshua's coming through.
Yes, he seems to be. Seems to be coming through.
What's the story with Anthony's necklace?
Well, believe it or not, in the end of September, I got this message to start making jewelry. And it was so quick, John, I can't even tell you. And the Magdalene collection was born.
It's a Magdalene collection.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Magdalene
Okay.
collection.com actually. And so suddenly it's so bizarre, I can't even tell you. You know, like automatic writing? It was like that. Like how
Wow.
the website came up, and we're talking about what, 2 months? Whatever, November, December, yeah, 2.5 months.
It's
And
just
everything
oh,
got birthed before the book was born. And in the book there's 7 women apostles that obviously were left out of history books, and each of them represent an archetype, and each necklace is connected to an archetype.
wow.
All of that came through me like at 3 in the morning, as it always happens.
I love
And
that.
suddenly all of this just came. And so there's 8 lines for the 7 sisters plus Magdalene, which is the Sophia line. And guess who is the peace line?
Mm.
Yeshua is the
Wow.
peace line. So we did actually include a whole line to you for peace. But that's not one of them. That's the creatrix line.
It is good to see you, Gaia.
It's good to see you too.
It is good to see all of you. Peace be with you. Love be with you. Grace and gratitude, and share all of these qualities of humanity that you are with others. John, it is an honor to be in your presence.
An honor to be in yours.
My love I give to all of you. My energy and my soul, all that I am, I give to all of you at that moment, this moment in time. Open your hearts, open your minds, and it shall be. I never leave you because you never leave me. We are always together as one. And it shall always be that way. Good.
I really just lit up when you said, all that I am, I give to you. And what immediately come in is like, but you don't get depleted because you're giving all that you are. It's a regeneration. It's the fullness of being. It's like, it's the separation that if we give, we're going to lose something within ourselves has been so ingrained.
No. When I give all of myself to you, I receive also in return.
Totally.
What I give, I return, is returned to me.
But that's also because you have the perception of that. People who have the perception of if they're giving too much, they're going to be drained, are going to be drained.
Or if you give with expectations, you get drained as well.
Yeah.
Do not give with an expectation of receiving something in return.
Yeah.
Simply give because you enjoy giving. and energy will come back to you as a result. What you give, you shall receive. Which energy you give, which frequency you give, you shall receive the same frequency of energy. The vibration in which you desire to exist will be the vibrations that will come back to you. The beings will come back to you. Your essence will come back to you. All will come back to you in return. What you think, you manifest, and you become. Create magic, create miracles with your thoughts and with your actions.
And with your heart.
Of course, with your heart. It all comes from the heart.
It does.
How do we create miracles and magic without creating expectations and the desire to create miracles and magic?
Stay humble. Stay grounded. Be kind always. Don't expect anything, but be humble. Be humble. Surrender. Be of peace. It is a practice, and it is a difficult one. It is so simple, it's hard at times, and you know that as well. I understand you must all make money, but you can still be humble while making millions of dollars if you want. There are actors and actresses that make millions and millions and millions of dollars, but they give it to charity. They only keep a very small portion for themselves to live.
Some of them.
Some of them.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that you are humble.
Yeah.
I try to teach that, and I teach that now. Stay humble. Be kind to others. But you receive the amount of money, the amount, the abundance. It is okay to give as well. It is who you truly are as human beings, if you choose to see it that way. I see you that way.
I had a profound experience many years ago where I was called into a meditation and I just surrendered to God. Truly a surrender, like everything that I had received in my life that was a blessing, I was just giving it back, like none of it's mine. And so humility of the receiving and giving it back. And I knew I got to a place like something shifted when I said, even my daughters who I would give my life for, it's like, even they're not mine. I give them back to you. I give them back to you. Again, such humility, pouring of tears, just like it's a total surrendering. And simultaneously in that moment, I shifted into, but I know there's more and I'm ready to receive it. And something opened and expanded in the receptivity of being open to receiving even greater blessings and to even claiming that I'm open to receive even more. And I'm curious how you would explain what would seem the polarity of giving everything because none of it's mine, but also being open to receiving even more than I have received. Because there was something profound in that actually, for me, it felt like it brought me even closer to God than I had been.
John, in truth, you didn't become closer to God. You became closer to you, your soul. The idea of God, the old paradigm of the separateness, is changing now. When you do the work, surrender, become humble, it is not true that you must give up everything for it. You are simply surrendering into who you are. And you are understanding that you and God are one. Peace be with you, I say to all of you. The temple lies within.
But also John was saying about being open to receiving more, whatever that looks like.
Exactly.
And the nuance of that.
When you understand that the two become one and you surrender into it and you are open to more and more and more, it is not the ego that is speaking. It is simply saying that I am open to abundance in whatever form it shows up to me.
In all forms. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
In all forms. In whatever way that looks like.
And may that be, and may abundance be with you, John, in 2025.
Yeah. To everyone,
Right. Yeah. And it has been, and I trust it. Well, I know it will continue to be. That's without a doubt.
We're all here, all souls.
Mm.
Good.
Such beautiful energy. Can we take a few moments to go through the special offer? Because what y'all are feeling on the call, the shift in energy, with Magda coming in, with Yeshua coming in, the conversations of Anthony and Renee, it's you're going to feel all this and so much more when you go like in a deep dive in the live course through the membership options that are available. And there's a business track also that Renee felt that was really important to bring on because again, I believe that's part of the awakening of the empowerment, the leadership, the essence of the feminine awakening in all of us. So the link for the special offer is in the chat box. If you're watching this on the BTO page, you'll see the special offer link there as well. You can click on that. But Renee, would you guide us through what everybody's going to receive when they participate? And again, the price on this is
yeah, we actually offered, quite a bit this time. We're doing 2 live sessions actually.
it's 2 live sessions. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 live sessions. So the first live session is channeling. We'll be channeling both Yeshua and Magdalene in a sacred container, which will be, there's always meditation part of it because, we're in our human form very animated. I'm French, he's Italian. We're very animated. So in order for us to get to a field of receiving, we go into a guided meditation where Yeshua leads us. Yeshua always leads us, really, even when Magdalene comes through. And that's really to get us into a heart coherent state so we can receive what's coming through in a different way, right? In a deeper heart place. And so then we go into interactive questions and dialogues, and also both Yeshua and Magdalene working individually with people as well. So that's always part of it. Energy transmissions are always part of it. Healing is often part of it as well. So it's just really a beautiful sacred container. So that'll be a live session with Yeshua and Magdalene and the guides. And then the second live session, as you mentioned, John, I just kind of had that idea really just a few days ago of offering to women, right? And it doesn't have to be specifically to women. I suppose I should say that, but it's really about speaking our conscious voice and what's blocking it. So it's not just in business, right? But it seems to get in the way a lot of business. Why am I not speaking what I need to say in a way that's aligned? Because when I say aligned, I mean everyone feels it. So remember when Steve Jobs was alive and he walked in a room, and love him or hate him, you felt the alignment. You literally felt the alignment. You'd buy anything from this man, because he was aligned in his vision. And I think, what is that for you, and what's blocking in the way from you getting to where you need to be with that? And I'm feeling very called to help people, especially women, unblocking that. And so that's what we're going to look at in the second live session, right? How can we unblock that and get you blossoming and flowing and, just out there with what is yours to do? And so, yes, if you run a business or you're a practitioner, I mean, I spent 35 years doing this for a living. And I'm trying to marry all of that expertise with what I've learned from spirituality and consciousness and doing it in a feminine way now. What does that look like? And so whether it's blocking you from going out there in the world as a spiritual practitioner, or if you're retired and you're simply needing to speak your truth in a different way and it's not working. So that's kind of what that's about. Let's sort of get to the bottom of that. And then we're also offering either access to 9-month membership. We've never done this before, so that's a really long chunk of time. We have 2 membership programs, and we're offering 9-month access to either Blue Soul Ignite, which is primarily Yeshua, Ascended Masters, and the teachings. And that tends to be a little bit more, I don't want to say educational, but there's more teaching. Would you not say that, Yeshua? There's more teaching, there's more transmissions, and we really encourage people to ask the toughest questions that even shock us. Like, oh, haven't heard that before. I wonder where we're going to go with that. And then the second membership program is Magdalene Sisters for women only. And that's just this beautiful sense of women only for part 1 of that program. And then Anthony comes for part 2 and channels the Magdalene and works individually with the sisters
Oh, wow.
who are there. Yeah, so it's pretty, I can see that there's a few sisters on this thread. I've seen them flying. I can recognize some of their names. So yeah, it's just a really beautiful community where we're supporting each other. And we meet twice a month live. And there's recorded replays for anybody who miss a session. So
Michelle says she's been in there for 3 years. It's been great. Amazing.
yeah,
So
yes. She's been, I guess, has it really been 3 years, Michelle? I guess it has been 3 years, yeah. And we become like family. I remember over the holidays, it was like, it was just so amazing to all get together, and I just felt like it was family. And then there's 2 guided meditations that we're doing that are channeled, and activating the biofield and getting that really aligned. And then I'm trying to remember what the other one was. Oh, bringing light to our fears and triggers. And the reason I chose that one is because it really segues and fits nicely with the live session that we're doing about releasing the obstacles to get into the conscious voice of what we need to speak.
beautiful.
And so it's connected to that. It's aligned with that. There's a kind of a segue and a bridge. And I don't know, did we offer anything else? I can't remember.
I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot for $111,
Yeah,
y'all.
it is a lot. It is
You
a
get
lot.
9 months of the membership alone. I mean, that's just a huge value. But then the 2 live courses or the 2 live gatherings as well. And the bonuses, that's really generous. And again, giving from all that you have is so beautiful. What I also appreciate what you're doing through the membership and the continuity of cycling the energies is you're holding a vibrational field to attune to and to maintain. You learn to assimilate and hold a frequency, a vibrational state of being, and a remembering that takes place, that we just don't glimpse it and we drop off. Again, there's an actual process of being able to maintain it as we assimilate even more energies that are coming in. And so
We've had like people start to speak light language, start to channel. All sorts of things have happened in our membership program over time where people are really opening up to who they truly are. And we find, people like Michelle, for example, and Alan, and some of the people who've been with us for a long time, they just show up as leaders and hold space for maybe a guided meditation that we do when we do a live Zoom call. That's, like one of our free ones that we occasionally do. And you just see them holding space, right? They're just there as these temples of divine love, right? They're just there. They're just showing up with their.
I love it because people say, "Oh, they've been doing the work," but no, they've been in resonance. We say you're doing the work, but it's not really like the efforting. It's like you're attuning into what's possible, and you're releasing the ego so that you can act from that possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more,
Amazing.
Yeah, it's funny, there was a woman that we used to do private with like twice a year from Israel. And she used to just show up and no words for 2 hours. I remember the first time we did a session with her and I was confused. I'm kind of like, and she just wanted to be in this field of resonance. And there were transmissions that happened that was kind of beyond us that we couldn't really understand. And so some people really understand what it means to be in that resonance field and just receive it and bask in it. And receive the love, because like you said, they're in this resonance field that's expanding their awareness and consciousness. And sometimes we don't know that we've grown and expanded until maybe a year later. John, I'm sure that you feel this and you look back and you're like, wow,
Oh yeah.
right? You know what I mean, right? Where you're not aware of it like every step of the way, but then you look back and, there's nuances that you understand that you didn't before.
All of a sudden you can hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like on this path, It's the subtleties.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, this is a really special offer, really generous. Y'all, it's $111, two payment options. Again, the 9 months, the live courses, the bonuses that are on there. Um, it's pretty amazing. I hope you all take advantage of it. And again, the link for that's in the chat box. If you're watching it on the Beyond the Ordinary page, you'll find the special offer button on there. And of course, you can always find the special offers on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. So take advantage of that. And y'all, we're going to run the replay all week long. So you can always access replays on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay. Just giving you a heads up on that as we're
Oh,
narrowing.
and one other thing I just want to add, because I know, John, you have a lot of Europeans, and so we're making the live calls in the morning so
Nice.
that, because I see Annie's, oh no, Annie's, she's Canada, but but for the people, all of you who are tuning in or watching the replay from Europe, those live calls are going to be in the morning, so you don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be part of it.
Excellent. Excellent. So again, y'all take advantage of it. Yeshua, while we have you here, how is it that we can serve those who may be in great periods of chaos or confusion, going through great loss and or giving a lot of themselves um, in the different places around the world, specifically for us in the US right now, as so much attention is being brought, rightfully so, to the wildfires that are happening in Southern California. Um, how can we serve if we can't directly serve?
Mm. Let those people, individuals, know that you are thinking of them.
Mm.
Send them a text, give them a call, send them an email, and let them know that you are thinking of them. If you cannot do something directly with them, just let them know that you are here for them if they need. Let them know. That is an indirect way of serving. And I know that not all of you can leave your homes or your jobs to go there and serve. But there are other ways that you can serve as well. Do it in your own unique way.
Mhm.
This
I love John's face.
transmission, this in and of itself, thinking about them. John, you mentioned it. Therefore, we are putting it in the air, if you will, in the vibrations, and we are sending them healing energy and love, our prayers, our thoughts, our meditations. Keep them in your prayers and meditations and your words. That too is healing for them.
Mhm.
That's how it's done. I don't ask you to leave anymore. I ask you simply to go with your heart. Go with your heart. Think of them. Let them know that you're thinking of them.
There's something that you're stimulating in me, and the words that come through are that love is never expressed in vain.
Mm.
Love is never expressed
In
in
vain.
vain. That
Mm.
is true. Yes, John. Love is always expressed in divinity.
Mm.
And all of you who are listening now are divine expressions of love. And I want all of you to know that. And that's what I see in all of you. That is what you send back to me. And you are telling me the same thing. I acknowledge you. You acknowledge me. All of us. We are working together to become divinity again here on earth.
Mm.
And it is beautiful to see that. I have faith and belief and credence in humanity. I do not see anything wrong with you. I see only love in all of you. And I see your evolution as a species, that you are becoming kinder and loving more than ever before. You truly are. There is nothing wrong with humanity. I am here to tell you that. Please believe it now and put it into action, all of you. These are my words I give to you, and my words are frequencies and vibrations that go into you as a soul and as a human being.
Yeah. They're healing. They're very healing.
It's on an end note for tonight's interview. How can we, or what's the awareness that we can engender within ourselves to be more receptive of the awe of the love that is possible for us to receive? Because it can feel chaotic and overwhelming. It can feel suffocating in its enormity. But we're also being asked to, we're being invited to receive even more of it. So how do we attune to the flow of a river that won't drown us, or that we believe will drown us?
Yeah, and I think in addition to the word suffocating, I would use terrifying in a way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can feel scary. And so,
And what do you do, Gaia, for that? I ask you as a teacher,
I know,
as a healer,
I know.
as a spiritual teacher, what do you do, Gaia?
Allow it to come in and trust.
Okay.
Trust that it's going to expand you to a place where it will no longer feel uncomfortable.
Allow it to terrify you.
Yeah, allow it to terrify you, right? Because, you know, at the moment of that terror, well, this is very Buddhist in teaching. In the moment of the terror, you go through the terror, through the fear, and then guess what lies on the other side? Just peace. You know, just peace and an innate knowing. So I think part of it is just trusting that you're not going to lose a part of yourself. You're only going to gain so much more. You're not going to be suffocated. You're not going to become, you know, maybe for the masculine out there, you're not going to become too soft. You're just going to become more flexible, and you're going to flow and dance with, you'll be able to manage so much more. So much more, because you're going to have bountiful of energy, you know, like, you know, sometimes men in my like work over the years are like, how do you have so much energy? And it's like, because I have so much love. With love comes energy.
Yeah.
That's
I can't
really
I can't
true.
remember the Jewish mystic's name, but it's one of my favorite quotes ever, and I can't believe it's eluding me. But the quote is, "Let me fall if I must. The one I become shall catch me."
Mm.
Right? And it reminds, like,
Oh,
okay,
say that again, John. That's really good.
yeah, let me fall if I must. The one I will become will catch me.
Man, that's good.
Jewish
That's
mystic.
real.
I'll pull up his name. I forget all of a sudden.
That
Uh,
is spot. That is spot on.
yeah.
That is spot on. Isn't that beautiful? Oh man, that's good. Yeah, find out who said that. That is
Yeah. Yeah.
like, yeah, because that's exactly what it is.
Mm.
Yeah, you will become so much more, that the fear that you thought would happen, it's the you know, Pema Chodron talks about this, right? The famous Buddhist, right? The opposite actually happens. All the fear that you have of who you're going to become, that person has such an expanded state of awareness that they not just catch you, but they walk with you. They
Yeah.
become you. And
Mm.
all the fear just melts away. Isn't that right, Yeshua?
That is correct.
That's your teaching
It is
too.
through your suffering, your
Yeah.
perception of suffering, that you will become something even greater than you can ever expect. But oftentimes you allow yourselves to go through the suffering to become that greater sense of yourself. Although you have fear of it, surrender into the suffering, and you will see great things happen as a result. We are all here to support you, all of us.
I love how your teachings are so ancient and wise and timeless, that they are the same as the ancient Buddhist and Hindu masters, and they're the same, right? This is like the timeless wisdom.
Much of my knowledge comes from the East.
I know it does.
You understand.
I know it does.
I'm just putting that out there now for the future. A little bit of extra knowledge, that's all. Of where I learned my knowledge as well.
At least it's not Magdalene coming through with anecdotes that are gonna be, you know what I'm saying.
I understand.
Magdalene wants to talk about sex more.
Yes.
That's another
Like,
call.
this is
That'd
kind
be
of safe
amazing.
territory.
I will not speak about that subject. I will let her speak about
I
it.
know. I'm just saying what you're saying is really pretty safe territory
Yes.
compared to where she wants to take people.
That will be fun to have that conversation as well.
Yeah,
It's
we could do a whole nother thing on that if you want. Sex
That'd
with
be amazing.
Magdalene.
Absolutely. Renee, Yeshua, Magda, of course, and Anthony, thank you all so much. What an amazing call. The energy is coming through, and just it's so timely to be again in the harmonic that we can play in together and be invited to. It's liberating.
Yeah.
And it's time. How wonderful.
It is time. Yeah. We love you all. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's been good. And I hope we see you on your show again. And, just the last, magdalenesjourney.com. Go check it out, you all, because our book is now out.
We'll do something about the book. Oh, for sure.
That would be great.
Congratulations on that. Yeah. We'll do a special for that one.
No, we'd love that. Yeah, it just went live on Tuesday, so it's pretty new.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Amazing. I know it's been a labor.
It's her story, but it's all of our stories.
Wow.
Stories. Yeah, all of our stories. So definitely check it out, y'all. 99-cent Kindle download for another 5 days.
Peace be with you all. Grace and gratitude. Love, love, love is who you are. Surrender into love, and you will find your true essence of divinity. These are the words I give to all of you, my frequencies and my vibrations. And I am in love with humanity. As I once was, I am now, and I shall ever be in love with humanity. It is time for me to step back.
Oh, thanks for bringing that energy. You always melt me and calm me down and get me back into a different field.
It is good to see you again, Gaia.
Oh, thanks for being here.
It is always an honor and privilege to be in your presence, John.
It's my honor and privilege. Until the next time.
I know, until the next time. And thank you, April. We love you too, back there in the back scenes. Love talking to you the other day. She's fabulous.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Such a gift.
All right. Thanks, y'all. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being on the call. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Namaste.
Blessings, blessings.